Hey y'all, this is your girl Sonja, and welcome back to She Say Sports. Today I have with me author, past president of the Bridge Breast Network, and three-time cancer survivor, Mrs. Sheila Taylor Clark. Hey Sheila, how are you today?
Hey Sonja, how are you? I'm doing good, thank you.
Good, I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yes, of course.
Because I know you're a busy woman.
Yep, it's only, almost October 15th, which is the last deadline for tax returns, and I had clients sending me stuff yesterday, so yeah.
Absolutely. You know how we procrastinators are.
And we have a longer extension, so I honestly don't understand. So.
But you know what? We're going to blame it on COVID.
Maybe we'll blame it. Yeah, that's fine. We blame everything on COVID.
Okay. Please tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, I am living in Dallas. However, I was born in Indiana, raised in Mississippi. Went to Jackson State University, got a degree in accounting, a bachelor's, and now working on my master's in accountancy with a specialization in the tax area. I am a licensed CPA, been licensed since 1995. Started my own firm about 3 years ago, even though I just recently licensed it as a licensed CPA firm in Texas last year. Every day, or I guess during the day, by day, I work as a tax consultant for a company, senior tax consultant for a company, and then, I run my own business pretty much on the side and whatever little free time I can scrounge. As far as activities, I am a member of the first Black sorority.
Oh, God.
Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, from which all others come.
Oh, Lord.
I am also a member of Jack and Jill of America, the North Texas chapter, and then I also serve on a variety of boards, mostly in the area of health and wellness, with Komen, the national organization, Komen Dallas, Komen North, and West Texas, in various roles. I was the recent walk chair for 2020 for the North and West Texas More Than Pink Walk. And then I also started my own not-for-profit about 4 years ago called Socket to Cancer. And I provide comfort items, or the organization provides comfort items such as socks, pillows, blankets, etc., for women that are currently undergoing treatment for breast cancer. I am married. I've been married almost 18 and a half years. So, and then I have a daughter. She is 11. Her name is Mackenzie, and she's an athletic superstar. She plays lots of sports. I guess majoring in basketball, if we can say that, but plays soccer, softball, hockey, wants to learn how to golf, so she is all into the sports thing, but she's also very good in school. She gets all A's or all A's and 1B consistently, so she's been doing well at that. And then I also have two bonus sons. They're twins. They are in school at Florida State University in Tallahassee, Jamal and Jameer. I think that's it. I feel like I said a mouthful.
Yeah, you definitely have a resume. And for the listeners out there, I'm a Delta, and Sheila and I, that's just our little thing. We have our little verbal banter with the sister Greeks, but we are very close, and we love each other.
Very close, yeah. And we can banter back and forth, but don't y'all try to step in and banter, because we'll look at you crazy.
Don't do it. But, yeah. So, Sheila, as you know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and you are the perfect person to discuss this with today. You've been through quite a bit with this disease, yet you are still kicking its butt every step of the way. According to the American Cancer Society, when breast cancer is detected early and is in a localized stage, the 5-year relative survival rate is 99%. Early detection includes doing monthly breast self-exams, scheduling regular clinical breast exams, and mammograms. Sheila, please share with our listeners your journey with breast cancer and how you have managed not only fight this disease 3 times and win, but live a full, happy, and productive life.
Well, I think part of it, a lot of it has to do with, obviously, blessings. It's not my time yet. So that's probably the first thing, that comes to mind. And then I would say, probably having more of a positive attitude instead of saying, why me when you get the diagnosis? Why not me? And what can I do to get better, fight the disease? And not just that, but to win and show other women that they can win as well as far as giving back and advocating for breast cancer awareness and breast health. As you mentioned, I am a 3-time survivor of breast cancer. I was diagnosed the first time in 2005, and it was just 1 year after my 46-year-old mother-in-law had passed of the disease. So all I knew was death, really, and I was just thinking once they called and said, you have cancer. They probably said unfortunately, and nothing good ever comes after unfortunately. Right. And then they said, you have breast cancer. And then I didn't hear a lot because, you hear bits and pieces because you just got this devastating news. How are you feeling? What are you going to do? What are going to be steps you take? How is this going to change your life kind of thing? And, I was living a life. I was 34, so I was relatively young. But because I only had the experience of seeing my mother-in-law battled for 2 years and ultimately succumbed to the disease, I just thought it was my time. And, I don't know why I thought like this, but I was thinking, okay, I'm 34. I've lived a full life. I'm an Army veteran, so I've done some things and done some travel with that. I've graduated college. I have a degree of success in my career. I've been married at that time. I want to say I had been married about 3 or 4 years, I believe. And so I was feeling good about my life, and I said, if I pass away today, I had a full life, which is kind of crazy to think you'd be thinking that at 34. But at any rate, that's sort of how I felt. But, even in that, I found the humor in situations. I think, too, finding the humor can help with your attitude as well. Because I was thinking, well, if I pass away, my husband, he's a good-looking guy. I'd probably go get another wife. Hopefully she's fat. She can't wear my shoes. She can't cook. So I was thinking all this stuff, and it was like making me laugh to even think about that and thinking, if he doesn't put me away properly, I want one of those sort of Aretha Franklin-like funerals. I want to be laying up, my legs crossed with some nice pink shoes or whatever. And I was like, if he doesn't do all this stuff, I'm going to come back and haunt him. But I had a dream that same night, and his mom, Miss Linda, and I called her Miss Linda because Miss Linda was only 13 years older than me. She had dated when she was 14. And we laugh about that. She never called me mom. And I'm like, you're not old enough to be my mom. And so we would laugh about that. But I remember her, in her battle, just the strength that she had, to be that age and somebody come to you and say, hey, you're only 46. You have all this life left to live. She had just recently gotten married, and you have 90 days to live. And anybody else, I felt like her attitude was just so wonderful, even though you had been given this devastating news. And she was so courageous. She had a wedding ceremony because she had gotten married without the ceremony. And the day of her ceremony, she was picking out her casket and what she wanted to be buried in. She wrote her program, and I was just thinking the strength that it took. And so I wanted to fight for her. And she came to me in the dream, and I tried to go with her when it was time for her to leave, and she wouldn't let me go, which when I woke up with tears in my eyes, I knew that meant that it wasn't my time. So through that battle, I had lumpectomy, 2 of them, because they didn't get clear margins. And then I had 6 weeks of daily radiation. It might have been 8 weeks. It's starting to get kind of fuzzy. And then I was doing fine. And then I had a baby girl, which, doctors said that would never happen. And at 39, I had my child once I was done taking the medicine you take every day so the cancer doesn't return, and had her. And then in 2013, she was about 4, I believe, I was diagnosed. She might have been 3, actually, maybe 4. I was diagnosed again with breast cancer, and this time I just had a feeling, I feel like the cancer's back, and it was no other reason. It's not like I felt the lump or anything. I thought I felt the lump the first time, but clearly I didn't have one. So it was just, I guess, the Lord protecting me and letting me know, go get yourself checked out. And I would say that to your listeners. You be in tune with your body, and if something feels off, don't let anybody make you feel crazy about it. Go get it checked out. and advocate for yourself when you get to the doctor's office. Don't let them tell you, oh, it's probably nothing. If it feels like something, keep fighting it or keep talking to them until somebody does something about it. So I went in and had the mammogram and the biopsy, and they said, yep, it is back. So this time I had a whole different outlook. I was, I guess, 43. I had a different outlook in life because I had a baby, and I wanted to watch her grow up because of the way that I had grown up. And so I was like, I don't care what y'all got to give me. If it's chemo, you know, if I got to eat rocks, whatever I need to do, go into your arsenal and trunk of, you know, things, treatments, and give me everything because I need to fight like hell to be here for my child. And she was really the reason for my fight the second time. I was like, I have got to get through this. So this time, because I didn't want the chance for it to come back, I had a double mastectomy where they removed both of your breasts, and then I had to have chemo, which I didn't want to have because, you know, AKs are vain. We like our hair and, you know, nails, eyebrows, all of that, and I knew that it was going to leave and so or be gone.
Not to cut you off, and I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Please tell the listeners, when you went to the doctor and you told him you wanted your breast removed, your doctor was angry. But what happened when after they took your breast off? Tell them what happened.
Yeah, and just as a correction, the first time I had a male surgeon, and it probably makes all the difference because I didn't even get a choice in what was going to happen. I was told you're going to have a lumpectomy, you know, you're young, we're going to do this lumpectomy, et cetera. And if I had known what I knew now about breast cancer, the fact that they had to repeat that process would have let me know breast cancer is not just in this area, it's in other places around it. You probably should have them removed. But again, I didn't know any better and nobody told me any better.
Right.
So the second time I actually had a female surgeon. And so when I talked to her, I could tell just when I met with her, she wanted me to arrive at the place of a double mastectomy, but she wasn't going to push me there because she was like, well, yeah, it's, you know, small again and, you know, we caught it early. I can remove it all, and, you know, you've already had radiation, and I don't know about, you know, how your skin will do. And she kept sort of leading me in that direction, but she didn't really have to lead me there because I was already there because, again, I'm trying to be here for my baby. Take these. Right. And so I told her, I said, no, I want it removed. And she was like, oh, good, almost like she, you know, had a sigh of relief that I was okay with that. And I said, yeah, and I said, it would be great if you could take both of them off, and then I could get, you know, 2 new ones that are perky. And she said, oh, yeah, we can definitely do that. Insurance will pay for it, and that way your reconstruction will be better instead of them trying to match the remaining breasts that can just, you know, give you these expanders, et cetera. So fast forward, I wasn't supposed to have chemo initially because they caught it early, and it was small. So she was just going to remove the breast. That was going to be it. But, however, when I was in the hospital, and the breast was removed, and they looked at it further and analyzed it further. They realized that instead of the cancer being maybe like 1 centimeter, it was close to 13. But it was in a liquid form, so it wasn't like it had formed the lump, et cetera, but it was all throughout my breast. And I was just standing there thanking God that he led me into that direction, even though they were saying, oh, it's small, and, you know, we can cut it out, et cetera. So again, it's all about advocating for yourself, advocating for your health, and if something doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. So, and we have to get over our fear, too, as Black women and minority women of color, because, you know, some of us have a distrust of medical doctors and clinical trials and all that, but we really have to get over that because this is one disease. Some things you can say, okay, I'm not going to worry about that right now. Maybe if you have a cramp in your leg or whatever, you know, I'll give it some time and kind of see, oh, it's feeling better, I'm just going to keep working or whatever I'm doing. But with breast cancer, that's the thing that you don't want to do. You want to, as soon as because as you mentioned when you started, your prognosis for recovery is so much better for you to not pass away from it. If you get it, if they catch it in time and can treat it in time, you have a 99% chance, as you mentioned, of survival.
Wow. That's amazing.
So that's my second story, and then I'm in the middle of my third story where, I'm thinking,
right.
and before I say that, just a quick note, reconstruction was hard on me because my expander burst, then I had an open wound, and then I had to have a home health care nurse wear a machine and close it up. I think I went 2 years without breasts, and I got so tired of looking at the scars on my chest. And I couldn't wear a bikini top because, again, I'm AK, I'm vain. So then after that, I decided to have this more in-depth procedure. But it was crazy because I was like, I got scars on all parts of my body except for my back, and I could wear backless, and this was where they were going to have to take muscle from to form breasts. But I decided to go ahead and do it. It was the absolute best decision I had made, even though I had been through so much with reconstruction. And I was so happy. Probably the first 3 or 4 months, I worked my breasts into every conversation. Oh, Sheila, it's cold outside. Yeah, my breasts are cold, too. Oh, the sky is blue. My breasts might look good in blue. So I was always trying to work them in, and I was wanting to show people, you want to see them? Like strangers and stuff. So anyway, once I got over that, I was doing well, and living life, and I felt like I was pretty much going to remain breast cancer free because I had my breast removed. And lo and behold, in December of last year, it might have even been November actually, right after the holidays, I felt, maybe it was right before Thanksgiving, I felt under my arm in the bathtub, and I was like, I feel this knot, like a little pimple almost, like a bump. But it wasn't on the other side because I thought it was due to reconstruction. And so it grew bigger, and I was like, you know what, let me go get this checked out. And again, I ran into it's probably nothing. Oh, I feel it. It feels superficial. It's nothing. And I said, yeah, but given my history, yeah, you're right. Given your history, we'll send you the edit check. And so it was biopsied, and I got the call again from my, the same surgeon. It's breast cancer. The good news is it's growing fast because, again, it had grown to like almost golf ball size in a matter of a few weeks. And she said it's growing fast, but it's contained, and I can cut it all out. And so that's what we did. I was like, I don't want to have to do chemo anymore, but of course I had to do chemo because of the growth rate on it and the fact that this was now my third time, and they're trying to, cure me finally. So it's interesting that I had my breast removed, but the breast cancer returned under my arm.
I don't understand.
Yeah, returned under my arm. So there's breast tissue. They can't take all the breast tissue out. They don't get it all out. So it's some under your arm, of course, where your lymph nodes are. So that's where they found it. Luckily, it had not spread again. It was caught early. And I just wrapped up chemo probably about 6 weeks ago, and I'm getting ready to start radiation, which will be every day for about 6 weeks, I believe.
So you will be done with that before
the holidays, before Christmas. I'm excited. It'll be a great Christmas present. Yes.
Yes. We missed, we couldn't really celebrate our birthdays.
Correct.
And she's born 2 weeks before me.
She likes to point that out, that she's younger than me. So, okay.
Yeah. And I'm July 20th. And I did surprise her and come to Dallas to spend some time with her.
Oh, it was a wonderful surprise. I was almost in tears. It was so wonderful. I did not expect it. I did not expect it. So.
Yeah, but we did a lot of sneaking around to get that done. But so thankful.
Oh, and the thing that you put together, the video, oh, my gosh, it was so amazing. I watched it several times and just cried.
Because that was heartfelt from all your friends. And
yeah,
it was
wonderful message.
Everybody, they were able to participate, and
yes.
It was fun. It was a lot getting them together. So
I'm sure. Yeah.
So I'm glad that's going to be over before Christmas, and hopefully next year, because you love to travel and
Yeah, COVID has been rough. To go through a life-threatening illness anytime is rough, but to go through it and during a pandemic has been pretty rough. I've felt some days where I've been depressed, or I was fatigued and I was upset because, I couldn't do anything or go anywhere, and I wasn't supposed to be anyway. I probably should have been happy that nobody else was able to go anywhere either. But I am definitely looking forward to the end of this, if there is an end, or, some treatments in place, et cetera, some protocols where we're able to, get together again, because I miss y'all.
I miss you too. We miss you too, and I was just thinking, I was like, I miss my friends so much, and, homecoming, and,
yeah.
So it's just hopefully, things will get back to normal soon, and people will. It doesn't look like people. I don't know what they're doing, but it's just like I know I gotta stay safe. You gotta stay safe.
Yeah, and that's what I'm. That's what I'm trying to do. I've had some. I can't say scares, but I've had some. I'm just trying to stay away from people, really. And if I'm around you, I'm trying to keep that proper distance. And I remember a coach tried to hug me. Then I handed somebody something, and they were just so happy to see me. They grabbed my hand, my arm, and slid their hands all the way down. Like, I just need to touch you. And I'm like, Yeah. And so I used hand sanitizer right in front of them and wiped everything down like I was taking a bath in it. And so I was like, I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but, this is pretty serious. And if you're in chemo, your immune system is, compromised.
Right.
Yeah, it's compromised. So you don't want to catch anything, but especially this COVID, where if you have an underlying health condition, it's, you fare much worse. I mean, I'm not Trump. I don't have Trump's money, helicopters that pick me up on my front lawn and take me where 18 doctors can see after me. So I got to keep myself safe.
Absolutely. Me too. Well, Sheila, I'm sure you heard about Ananda Lewis, the former VJ from MTV, announced a few weeks ago she is fighting breast cancer and is in stage 3.
Yes.
However, it was not early detected because Ananda did not believe in mammograms due to the small amount of radiation patients receive while getting one. She now feels had she got mammograms, she could have caught it earlier and been able to fight it a little better because now it's in her lymph nodes.
Yes.
Could you explain what lymph nodes are for people who don't know what they are and what happens when cancer has spread to them?
Yeah, so cancer, breast cancer usually starts in a localized area in your breast, obviously, why it's called breast cancer. But if allowed to grow, those cells can break off and go to other parts of the body, and they travel to those other parts of the body. When you hear people say breast cancer has spread to the lung or to the brain or to the bone, it makes it to those other areas through the lymphatic system, which is made up of your lymph nodes. And, of course, you have several under your arm, so just the connection, with them being so close together, that's usually the path that it takes, under your arm through those lymph nodes and then to those other areas. And what you mentioned about early detection, that is key, because that's how they find out how to stage you, whether or not cancer cells have infected your lymph nodes. And so I've had some removed, I've had them tested, and like I said, all 3 times I've been blessed to be early stage. But, staging is based on that, the extent to which it spreads. Now, if it spreads to other organs, such as your lungs, your brain, and your bones, that's considered stage 4. And stage 3, it's in your lymph nodes, but may not have deposited into your organs. So, and you would have you'd have more strenuous treatment, I guess, a more complicated treatment plan the farther you are in staging.
Okay.
And I think with her, she grew up, if I recall, I want to say, didn't her mom have something, and she was getting the radiation, and she thought that was the reason that she got the cancer. So I think she was, again, that, I would say irrational, but if you feel that way, it's probably rational to you, fear that we have, of medical procedures and not trusting. And it goes back to our history. I definitely understand being a black woman, even when you look back at the Tuskegee experiment, they were telling them that they were treating syphilis, but they were giving it to them, as part of the trial. So I think all of that makes us nervous about participating in trials, taking medicine, going to a doctor, because, inherently we don't trust them. But I will say that clinical trials are very helpful, and the reason that a lot of things affect us worse, or the medicine doesn't seem to be working on us as it does on our white counterparts, is because not a lot of black people will sign up for those clinical trials to see if there's something in our genetic makeup where the medicine needs to be a different kind, or, in order for it to be effective, it has to be tested on people that look like us and have the same sort of genetic makeup.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you, regarding the radiation. So how much radiation can a patient receive during a mammogram compared to what one will receive being treated for breast cancer?
Oh, it's very, it's very limited. It's just like taking an X-ray. Clearly, because of X-rays, anything like that where you have a lot of it all the time, it's going to be harmful to you. But the rays that are emitted during a mammogram are, far less than you would have to do if you were doing like me and you have to take radiation that's concentrated on a certain area of your body over time. So I just say, the mammogram, pretty easy. It's a lot safer now. They do cover other areas if they have to do more intensive scanning, but mostly it's just a scan of your breast, so not really anything that's going to hurt you per se. But I can see, again, years ago, sometimes we don't have the information that we're privy to now, and technology is definitely different.
Absolutely. And, she's been fighting for 2 years silently, and her announcement to the world was when her announcement to the world was when a lot of family and friends found out. So, you found out about your third fight with breast cancer in January of this year, and me, including many of your friends and family, found out via Facebook. And, you and I talked about this. I was heartbroken because I was like, why didn't she tell me? But you explained to me why you did it that way. Could you please share the reason why you decided to tell most of your loved ones via social media?
I think what I was trying to do is put the information out there, but sort of cut down on the separate conversations that I would have to have, because if I had, I could have called 100 people, but that's 100 different times I have to recount, this devastating news. And like you said, it's stressful on you to have to go through that. Because even most people, if you have friends fighting cancer, that's any type really, I would implore you to, if you have conversations with them, they don't want everything to be about their cancer. They want to talk about other things, and they want to talk about fun things. So I think that is I think I chose it mostly because I didn't want to have to be reminded of it in so many subsequent conversations. I could tell everybody sort of at the same time, and I could share, that it was caught early and sort of, put people's fears to rest, et cetera. But I will acknowledge that I'm sure it was devastating for everybody really to learn on Facebook, other than, Nate and McKenzie.
Right. Oh yeah. I was like, oh my God.
And I'm a public person too, so I think there's a part of that. I probably overshare, TMI, but the reason, I think my first battle, I didn't speak about it a lot publicly, probably because I was still in mourning for Miss Linda. But I think I realized in this, in this pain, I have a purpose, and that is to share my story, to give other people hope. And as I started to share the second time, I was getting private messages. People were calling or texting and saying, hey, I've been going through this, but watching you go through, what you're going through, this is nothing, or it's giving me, the drive or the courage to, fight, and I'm going to fight just like you're fighting, et cetera. Because I have somebody that grew up next to me that was a baby. I'm talking about jumping over high grass because I love babies, and I was a teen already. And she sent me a message, and she said, I just had surgery for breast cancer, and I just finished my treatment, and I just want you to say that, even though I didn't share mine on publicly, social media, she said, but I followed you, and I was just so inspired by you. I knew that I could fight and beat this disease too. So that means a lot when you get messages like that, and it makes me understand. Obviously I was put here for this purpose, since I've had it 3 times and I'm still here. So I want to share what I'm going through, the good, the bad, and the ugly, so people don't feel so afraid. I also want to be able to advocate for women, for their breast health, and I also want to be able to promote breast cancer awareness when I can.
That's awesome. And you have helped a lot of people, trust me, and it's a blessing that you're able, I said 3 is a charm when, I found out, and I got over crying because it scared me because I'm like, Lord, they cut her breast off this time. Why?
Why is it back? And I think a lot of people had questions about that, but you have to understand that, even though they cut my breast off and, they did all these tests, I had chemo, et cetera, you could have one cell, microscopic cell that they missed that could, potentially implant somewhere else and grow. So, it's always a chance of cancer coming back, and that's any type of cancer that people deal with. So,
gotcha. And when you explained it to me early on, it kind of, I was like, okay, I get it now, but I'm just like, Lord, I'm just saying, 3rd time is a charm, and, I don't know why you're allowing this, but you're doing it for a reason. So, you're definitely an advocate, so I'm thankful for that. So you've already pretty much explained where you are in your fight with your 3rd diagnosis, about you starting radiation.
Yes.
How much does diet and stress play in the healing process?
I think diet plays a big role because I tended, to feel sicker when I didn't have proper protein. And so I think, protein helps, antioxidants. Fruit is always good, and there are some fruits and vegetables that have special properties. So I would definitely, look those up or talk to your doctor about that. But diet is important, even though as you're going through chemo, they don't stress it, in my opinion, enough because I guess they feel like you're going through what you're going through. If all you want to eat is a cheeseburger, then have that cheeseburger. Right. But, you definitely need to pay attention to what you eat. And I'm sure sugar, plays a role. If, just like sugar would feed anything, really, it probably feeds cancer. And I haven't done the best job in that. I'll be off sugar and then I'll go back. But I'm not as bad as I used to be, so I'm going to celebrate the small wins and, right. keep working at it like anything.
Absolutely. And do you think how does stress play in the
I feel like stress does because I feel mostly stressed out most days, and it's probably because I have a problem with saying no. So some things I know I shouldn't be doing, or like for instance now, it's October. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so I have all these requirements with these organizations I work with, like 3 arms of Komen, right, 3 of them, so it's not like I could just work with one and be done. And then I work with, as you mentioned, the Bridge Breast Network. I have my own nonprofit, and then I get lots of requests to speak or to come visit this or to, and then we just got an opportunity to partner with Ford that someone called me about that will help the Bridge. And the Bridge helps women that don't have insurance get free medical care for a breast cancer diagnosis, which is a blessing. So I'm always trying to help them make money with that. But there's a lot of requirements on me. And then, as you know, I have a regular job. I have a practice, where if I don't work, I don't get paid. So, it's like out hunting, you got to kill everything that you eat. So I got to bring in clients and kind of keep that going at the same time I'm working a full-time job. Mackenzie has been in virtual school, so I've had to help with virtual schooling because her teacher probably meets with her 15 minutes in the morning, 15 in the afternoon. So most of her classwork falls on me, so that's stressful. And then I've been going through this cancer battle. That's been stressful. And then not just that, I decided this year like an idiot, I'm going to finish my master's. So I think, I don't know why I allow myself to have all this stress on me, but, sometimes I do feel it, and sometimes I feel like I should say, no, I don't want to, I can't do that, and it's just been hard for me to do that. I even helped found a whole new organization, the National Society of Black CPAs, during this pandemic. So it's like, okay, this is crazy. So.
I'm thinking as you're talking, and we've discussed this before, you guys have to hear Sheila's full story and just give a little summary today, but when you mention all the stuff that you're doing, you know, they say the first 7 years of your life is the foundation, and your foundation, rather. And tell the story. You were adopted, and your mother was a socialite, and she was busy just like that.
Yes. So my adopted mother was definitely, she was, you know, really like a pillar in her community. And the more I think back, because I was so young when she passed away, the more I think back to her life and what she likely endured, because she grew up in the Delta, you know, in Mississippi, where at a time where, you know, segregation was still there, or the Jim Crow laws, all of that stuff was kind of still around, and the remnants of that, especially in the Delta, where it's almost still there now. So right. To think that she went through that, and they said she was always so outspoken that they almost drove her out of Mississippi so she would be safe. And I want to say someone tried to attack her, is my understanding, assault her, and she fought back. And it wasn't pretty. So I think what I heard was they kind of drove her out of Mississippi, and she landed in Indiana, you know, South Bend, Indiana, and she started her life there. And she didn't have, you know, a high school education, hadn't graduated from high school, hadn't graduated, let alone college, but hadn't even graduated from high school. And I just remember, even from a writing standpoint, she sort of taught herself, you know, how to read and write. I remember her, you know, writing her signature, et cetera. But again, sort of like this self-driven, self-made woman. And she came to South Bend. She started, I guess, cleaning houses, graduated to cleaning offices, and then she started her own business of cleaning offices. And then she also became an antique dealer. She was also a community leader. She founded an organization called the Black Society for Women, Black women in the community, business owners, et cetera, to help them through entrepreneurship, to do civic, you know, to handle her civic responsibilities with raising money, et cetera. And we had a community center, and I remember she would throw fundraisers and parties, and, you know, I remember her in her fur coat. She was really doing well, and I remember that white men, what I remember the most is they respected her. Like, she could drive on a car lot and pick up a car. She would have these meetings that I would be sort of, you know, around, and, you know, the only black person in the room. So she had that presence, and it's really amazing when you think where she came from and how she aspired. You know, we lived in a great neighborhood. I was having this great upper middle class lifestyle. My neighbors were different races, and, you know, we lived in a good part of town. I had pretty much everything I wanted except for a bunch of toys, because if she went to the store, I'd be like, bring me a toy, and she'd know, I'm going to bring you a book. And she saw the value of education, even though she hadn't gone past likely junior high or maybe ninth grade, but she knew the value, because I remember at an early age, before I knew most things, she said, you're going to go to college. You're going to go to Indiana University. And she spoke that over my life early. So I knew, you know, there was no option for me not to go to college, because that's what she instilled in me, that education was going to be my way out, or my way to succeed in life. And I appreciated that, especially, like I said, given her history. And then, too, you have to look at my adoptive mom, I guess, had been married, but was, you know, separated, whatever happens when the man leaves, and, you know, you're just kind of on your own. And she was able to adopt, as a single woman in 1970, a baby on her own. So
that's amazing.
And petitioned the court several times. You know, I was in her custody, but she had to petition them at least 3 times before they said, okay, we're going to make this a formal adoption. So I'm grateful to her, which is another reason, you know, I've never changed my name, because that is my connection to her, since she died when I was almost 7. So. And I remember this stuff vividly. It's crazy.
That's amazing. And I, you know, just hearing the story through the years, I know that's part of the reason why you're that way. Because
she was driven. And I think the other piece is, too, once I figured out, or somebody told me I was adopted, probably around 12 or so, if I remember correctly, I remember thinking the life I was living was so horrible once my adopted mom passed, and I had to move in with a legal guardian who was her sister, my life was so awful. You know, I had to relocate to Tunica, Mississippi, middle of the Delta, poor place, no industry, segregated still largely economically and educationally. So I had to move there. And I remember going from sort of the dream house and the dream life to a 2-room shack on someone's plantation with well water and an outhouse. I mean, I didn't I think I didn't go to the bathroom for a good week when I first got there, because I was like, I got to go in this outhouse, and where's the running water? There's only 2 rooms, the front room and the back room, and we're living out here in the shack, and it was crazy to go from that. And all I could think about was, first I was mad at my mom. So I talked to her every day, and I was like, I'm so mad at you for leaving me. I don't know why I was thinking like that. And that's how I would talk to her. I can't believe you left me in these conditions. And she shouldn't have, because she left me with $100,000 trust fund. But at any rate, obviously I didn't get to spend it. But, but I think back to that, and I always knew, even where I am, this is not my home, and I'm getting out. So I had that sort of working for me, and I was always laser focused. When I was probably a good 7 or 8 years old after she passed, in my mind I felt 30. I felt like I was a grown-up, and that's how I lived my life. I was always the most, mature person, because I was laser focused. At 12, I knew I wanted to be a CPA. Might have been earlier, probably 9 now that I think about it. I knew I was going to be a CPA. I was going to work for PricewaterhouseCoopers. I was going to, buy me my own house, because I didn't want anybody to put me out of it, to die and leave me, to, give me a way out of it. And I was going to have this house at a young age. I was going to go to college, get good grades, get this good job, and I wasn't going to be sidelined by, parties and boys. Looking back, I should have been sidelined a little bit by the boys. But I should have found me a husband in college. But I was so focused. And if you talk to anybody that tried to date me during that time, they were like, she's on a whole nother level. And that's kind of where I was. I don't have time to play, because I don't have a safety net. I don't have anybody to call to send me $10 for this or to pay this. So I got to go get a job. I got to have my own car. Everything sort of fell on me. And I knew that early on. When my mom left, it was all about me taking care of myself. And I do believe the reason I try to do so many things, and I try to do them well, is because in the back of my mind, when I found out when I was 12, I kept waiting for my biological mom to come rescue me. I felt like she didn't know where I was, and when she found out, she would come and rescue me. She didn't. She contacted me after I went to college, so I was already 18 and a grown-up, etc. But I really wanted her to say to me, and I can be honest with this, even though I haven't said it publicly, I wanted her to say to me, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I should have kept you. And I think that's why I got to be the best. I got to do this. I got to do that, because I'm going to do all these things to show her she should have kept me.
Wow.
So.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. You know how I feel about that whole.
Right.
It's just through all of that. It's I'm like, God kept His eye on you.
He did, and I will say that I would have not made it. I'm not supposed to be here several times with stuff that I grew up with, and things that I've gone through, and I have just been grateful to God. I'm so grateful for my daughter, even though they said I wasn't going to have her. She's been a miracle to me, and I know she's super spoiled, and looks like she gets everything she wants and all that. But I think a lot of that too is because of my background. I'm being the mom to her that I wish I could have had.
Absolutely, and that's why I get it. I totally get it. But she's a great kid.
She is. She's a good kid.
A
little lazy, which is shocking to me, the laziness, because I'm like, girl, if you know anything about your mom, I've been a grinder since, I probably got my first job around 10 or 11. I wasn't supposed to be working, but I was hanging around the store and was like, if you just let me clean up and pay me in school clothes. Who does that at my age?
Wow.
And so I have always been driven. So to see her I'm like, I don't know if I'm helping the situation or making it worse, because I got to have her where she's able, if something does happen, I'm not going to always be here, that she's able to stand on her own 2 feet and take care of herself.
Trust me, she's watching. She knows she's watching.
Well, she is definitely watching the business. So she's like, so I see you get money from people. Can I work in your business and you pay me $20? Can I start a business and I want to do this. So I see that spirit and drive in her. But, like I said, and she's young still, so she has some time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Sheila, you are truly one of the strongest people I know and a true inspiration, not only in my life, but many others.
Well,
all that you have gone through, you're welcome. Since birth, you have endured with strength, class, boldness, and beauty. I love you so much.
I love you too.
We will keep the good fight of faith. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, no problem. I enjoyed it.
Me too. Can you please tell the listeners how they can donate to the Bridge Breast Network? And I'm so glad that you mentioned earlier, because I was gonna ask you about what advice you would give people who wanted to get mammograms but didn't have insurance, but through Bridge Breast Network, they can be able to get help.
Correct. I just helped somebody last week. A friend called and she said, my friend found a lump. I'm worried about her. She lost her job and doesn't have insurance. So she was able to get in touch with the Bridge. And, we try not to turn women away. Sometimes the money is not, great because we don't have enough money to market. But we have such a great story, and we want to help everybody that needs help. We don't, at the core of our values and motto is that no woman should die of breast cancer because she doesn't have the money to pay for treatment. And so that's what we try to keep at the forefront of serving these women. And I guess the good thing about the Bridge is it's definitely open to, it's a bunch of counties here in North Texas. But it's not like we have a Bridge in Atlanta but I will say if you are in a position where you need a mammogram, there's so many services out there. Start first at your local Komen affiliate, and then they will connect you with their grant recipients who are likely the people doing treatment, because the Bridge is a grant recipient of Komen North and West Texas and Komen Dallas. So they give us funds, quite a few funds to carry out this duty. And I think, Komen gets a lot of, flack from people about not doing things, but they're doing it through other people that they fund.
Right.
So they've been helpful as well. So if you just reach out to every place should have a local Komen affiliate or one that's close. Reach out to them, and I'm sure they have a grant recipient that's ready to fill whatever needs you have.
Great. And talk about, give us the website for the Bridge Breast Network and any other foundations.
Oh, yes, sorry. It is www.bridgebreast.org. So very easy to remember. And like I said, it's here in Dallas-Fort Worth, but we service all across North Texas. I can't remember the number of counties. There was a whole bunch of them. So every county in North Texas, we serve clients from that area, even though it's based in downtown Dallas. But and then with Komen, their website, the national organization's website is, I believe, Komen.org. And then you can probably Google Komen, North and West Texas, because I think they changed their website. Since they changed their name, it's probably KomenNWTexas.org. And then Komen Dallas is KomenDallas.org. So those are all of the organizations that I work with. I don't have a website right now for Socket to Cancer. I've been taking donations from friends and making my own donations to sort of keep it going, because I want the focus to be on the Bridge Breast Network. So as long as I can make my donations, I'm not, here trying to make a lot of money or have a fundraiser, but I do want to, again, I've been blessed to get donations from friends. Checks have come in, and I don't know where they're coming from, and I take those and buy what I mentioned, and then I share those at the various oncology centers.
Okay, absolutely. That is great. And I will be, I give to the Bridge Breast Network, but
yes.
I will be giving to your organization as well.
All right. It's a 501c3. It's tax deductible.
Hey. And your social media, do you have any?
You can follow me on Instagram. I tend to post pictures. I'm not as active as I need to be, but my handle on Instagram is STCPA. And then on Facebook, I'm under my name, Sheila Terry Clark. But if we don't have a bunch of friends, if we don't have at least a certain number of friends in common, you might have to send me a message to tell me why I can accept you. Because, I get pretty personal on my Facebook page, and I share a lot of information, so I try to, sort of limit that to people that I, truly know, or breast cancer survivors. So.
Right, exactly. And, guys, you can follow me, She Say Sports Facebook, She Say Sports 23 on Instagram, and that's our show for today. But until
all right, thanks for having me.
You are so welcome. So welcome. I will be bringing you back.
All right.
Until next time, this is Sonja with She Say Sports, and I'll see you on the radio.